Digitas to meet with my friend Elise, and surprise, I'm late.
Welcome aboard the 90,000. The one-of-a-kind car operated entirely by microprocessors, which make it virtually impossible for it to be involved in any kind of collision. Now you're telling me I can't hit anything? Trust me.
I get asked a lot what it's like to run a startup, and I always tell people that I can summarize my job in 3 ways. 1, hire a great team and give them everything they need to succeed. 2, provide a mission to the company and make sure everyone stays true to it. And 3, make sure we don't run out of money. But money's the tricky part, right? I mean, ideally you build a business that makes money right off the bat, but in the case of software like we have, it's a little tougher. So you have to go out and raise money in various stages in order to build the software, prove that it's working, prove that people want to pay for it and that it's a viable product, market fit. And going out and finding money is in direct contradiction to spend all your time working on the business, make it the best you can. And really it's considered a distraction. So you want to raise as much as you can at individual points, yet not give away too much of the company when it's not worth as much as it could be later. There are a lot of variables to go into there. But one of those variables is talking to venture capital firms. And generally, venture capital firms only want to get involved when you've got $2 million, $3 million, $5 million, $10 million in revenue, because then you're a proven business model and it's something they can get behind. But in most cases, software that's raising money isn't in that spot yet. But what I've seen venture capital firms doing lately is reaching out to people that are early stage. I'd say about 2 to 3 times a week, I get emails from venture capital firms and they call and say, hey, do you need money? And I used to kind of address it and say, well, actually, we're kind of looking to raise, and they immediately stop the conversation. What I've learned lately is you say, actually, not right now, we just finished a round, or it's not something we're ready to talk about yet, more calls start coming in. So it's really interesting to watch the industry change in that way. And when they do call, it's usually the same thing. They want to know about us. They want to create a relationship because maybe they think we'll be something later. I mean, I think what venture capital firms do that's really smart is they create these relationships very early on. I know a couple of these guys actually reached out to me very early on in our process. I mean, all the way to 2 years ago when we were first really getting off the ground and building our MVPs. You know, people kind of caught wind of some press we did and reached out. But a lot of those calls sound the same.
Laser focus on working with early stage growth equity companies. The way that we think about that is businesses that are scaling pretty quickly, doing it in a pretty capital efficient manner, and found some pretty good product market fits. So revenue somewhere over the 5 million run rate mark, and have raised less than 10 million of institutional funding. And then where we could come in, our investment size falls somewhere in the, call it 7 to 25 million range, ideally being used for sales and marketing or perhaps some level of shareholder liquidity. Portfolio, it's pretty diverse fund. I'd definitely consider us more of a stage-focused investor, but a lot of B2B, SaaS, decent amount of marketing, technology companies, primarily minority equity investors that tend to hold a minority position somewhere between, call it 15 to 35% or so within our portfolio companies. Can you just give me, a little bit of background on the product? So, obviously you can sell to brands or agencies. Given the complexity and number of systems that people are connecting into, is there a large implementation process here, or is it pretty simple, just through APIs? So what are your capital needs going forward here to continue to scale? That's great. I mean, I definitely think that this sounds pretty interesting from a product standpoint for us, especially given some of our investments, potential partnership opportunity there at some point. But you're a little bit, early just for our focus. These conversations are worthwhile having so we get to know each other. Maybe exploit the process when other time comes and you're in our zone and potentially looking to raise. And we get down to Atlanta pretty frequently, so I'm happy to let you know, next time we're down there, grab coffee or something. All right, stay in touch.
Bye. But the reality of the situation is that these guys really only want to talk to people that have a viable business in place. And so while they're doing their research and they want to identify people early on who they might want to invest in later, they're looking for a $2 million, $3 million, $5 million, $10 million annual revenue business to invest in. In our case, we kind of fall somewhere in the middle of the money raising process. Over the course of the last 3 years or so, we've gone out to friends, family, people in the industry that will invest in technology and really sold at first the story. Then we came up with a product, showed that people were interested in it, Then we had a product bought by a few large customers, kind of further proving out the business model. 4 rounds of funding later, we've got a great team in place. We've got clients on the platform using it, and we've got a great vision for where we want to go. But the next step for us, and when all these venture capital firms call, they want to see the business model working, right? You've done your research on what the product is, how it fits in market. You've gotten people to use it. Now show me revenue. You show me revenue, I'll pour money on top of it, and then you will be able to go forward from there. I just realized that I spend the majority of the time in these videos from inside my car. To wrap up the conversation on raising money for a startup, even if you are raising money and getting money from people to build a product, know that eventually in any industry, your business is gonna have to make money, and you need to focus on that from the beginning. Ideally, you don't raise money. I always have people congratulate me on raising rounds of funding, and I kind of get this icky feeling like, look, if I didn't have to raise money, I wouldn't. I mean, technically, I'm giving away pieces of my company in exchange for money, and ideally, I wouldn't have to do that. There's a lot of good information online about raising money, but essentially it comes down to having a great story, having a great product, having a great team, and having a business that can actually make money. It's certainly not easy. It's something we struggle with every day. Every entrepreneur in any industry deals with this day in and day out. It's the number one concern. How do we get our business to generate more revenue? And that's the game. It's a hard game, it's a long game, and there's a lot of competition. Anyway, it's Friday. I'm gonna go inside, finish up the email that I did not get a chance to get to today, and then figure out what kind of cheat meal I'm going to have for dinner.